for Valorant. But let's save that. We got 2 clips from the T1 Invitational brought to you by Nerd Street Gamers. Let's look at the Hiko 1v4 first. Tyler, this
the best play
pretty
so far
sick.
in Valorant.
Look at this. On site.
No, I just want
to
tap.
I mean, this is beautiful.
The spray control, it's immaculate.
The flick right at the end, just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Wait for it.
right here.
1, 2.
You gotta be kidding me. That was a double tap, by the way, on the spike, right?
So beautiful.
So he fakes the spike twice, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna start defusing until you find me.
I just want to watch it again. Daniel, please keep this up. I just
This
like
is-
that. The flick from long into garage is just nasty. Like,
I
the
said
first
this
fake
on-
out there, right, to try and bait him out. Doesn't
he
get
checks
it.
garage.
Goes back.
He taps again. He actually holds. He gets nearly to half. He actually doesn't get to half,
my
and then he flicks to
God.
the neighbor, and then he does it again. And he has the sliver of just enough time to make.
And I
that
love how
defuse
he's
work.
like, "What? That worked?
No,
That was how it ended."
I said this on Twitter.
Oh, my word.
And I said, and everything you want to say about Valorant, is it overhyped? The graphics not pretty enough? Whatever you want to say. That clip alone and how much people interact with that. Clips like that, and Asu, who gets millions of views on his clips. This is why I think Valorant is going to be a good esport. Maybe even a great esport, is because you show that Hiko clip to anyone. I'm showing, anyone, and they understand what's going on, and they understand how cool it is. From the sounds, to the tension, to the bomb about to go, everything fits. Even if you're not the biggest esports fan, you see that play and you understand what's going on, that this person just went 1v4 and he killed all the other players and he won the round. Congratulations. It's very easy to follow. Where compared to other esports, you see there's some, League of Legends to an extent, Overwatch especially, where I remember Bren actually posted when Sinatra retired, was like, hey, here's like one of Sinatra's greatest moments in Overwatch. And if you understand Overwatch, you watch that clip and you're going, wow, that was a really amazing play by Sinatra. But there was people in those comments who were like, I have no clue what went on there. What just happened? I have no clue what happened. It's just a lot of colors bouncing against each other. And
I will say, here's my example anytime I talk about this specific topic with people, right? So, like, I try to surround myself with people in my personal life that have nothing to do with video games, or at least don't have anything to do with esports, right? So my girlfriend has nothing to do with esports at all. My mom had never been to an esports event or never watched esports with me prior to this. Younger brother is the same. I took my mom and I took my younger brother to the Atlanta homestand, the Atlanta Overwatch homestand, and they were lost. And my mom has since watched League of Legends with me. She's watched Counter-Strike with me. And she understands them a little bit more. The top-down camera on League makes it at least a little bit easier to understand. But honestly, tactical shooters and fighting games are the easiest games to understand. And Rocket League, I think, is pretty straightforward. It's soccer with cars. Pretty simple concept. So I think that that's the biggest advantage that all tac shooters have, Counter-Strike involved. And we can go back and say this a billion times. It is definitely true that this game sort of being a little bit more PG than Counter-Strike will ultimately help it get indoors that Counter-Strike cannot.
100%.
And so I think that that's a huge deal, right?
We have one more clip from the T1 Invitational that I want to show. This was by far my favorite clip because I was at the edge of my seat. Yeah. So I want to watch this all together, and I actually got comments from Wardell, which I will mention later. But let's just watch this and appreciate how dramatic this is. So this is the Wardell clip here. This is a 1v1. So it's Elige and Wardell. Against Elige, too, by the way. So he puts up the wall, and there's Elige. So Elige is like, okay, well, I'm going to throw. He stops diffusing to get the elimination and goes back. And look how much time is left. 0.04 seconds. So you're watching this in real time, and you're hearing it, and you can assume in your head, no way he's going to make it. So he stops diffusing to get the kill, goes back, and gets the diffuse. One of the most dramatic plays I've seen in this game.
And you have to know Elige is coming for you. That's the scary thing, right?
And Elige misguesses. He misguesses the flash on Breach also. Yes, which is sort of
exactly
he hits the wrong part of the wall. He doesn't hit the right part of the wall. He hits the left part of the wall, and Wardell is on the right part of the wall from his perspective.
Daniel, feel free to play that clip a couple more times. I want to read what Wardell told me about the play. I asked him, like, how did you know? Like, what was going on in your mind? And he said, so this actually started on B site. It was a 1v2, and he knew that if he could get one of them, it would rotate back to A. So he was able to eliminate the person on site. There was somebody up in heaven, and he knew they were going to rotate. So that's where it started there. He eliminated on site. Then they both rotated to A. So he says, quote, I was trying to wall him and then look for the site guy who's going to be covering. Oh, sorry, hold on. That was on B site. So he goes to half. If I hear him close to me, then I get off. If I don't, I stick it. Then he went to my left because there was a gap in the wall. I die either way. Time is low. You have to stick it. Might as well try. But it sounded like I had enough time. So he believed that he did have enough time, which I found very surprising there. So he was like, at the very least, I can remove him of his gun for the next round, but at best, I'll get the kill and I'll get the defuse, which he believed, which I still don't believe that he thought he had enough time in that moment.
I mean, he had no choice. He had no choice. He had no choice, though, right? Like
in that moment.
But look at the score. It's 8-12. Team Brax if Leach wins that round, the game's over. He had no choice. Wardell had to do it.
How many people imagine yourself in that moment? This is why I asked him. Imagine yourself in that, and Tyler, you and I have talked about this already. But like, imagine if you were in that moment, if you were Wardell. I'm gonna guess that 999 people out of 1,000 are gonna continue diffusing. They're gonna hope that the wall will give enough time.
I would go for the gunfight, but not win it.
You would? You're the one. You and Wardell are the two people.
I would definitely go for the gunfight, but I would choke.
Now the real question, I actually think he may have been able to stick it. Just with the mechanics of how he would have had to wrap around the wall, just to be able to get vision on the angle. I would want to see it in like slow-mo to check that, but I actually think that he had enough time to stick it. I think he had that either way. Because if you look here, it depends on how close. Like, I don't have the audio here right here, and like I would have to hear it myself. But like, watch this, right? He has more than half there, and by the time Elige would have wrapped around the wall, I think Wardell could have stuck it and had it because he actually had like almost 3/4 of the way done by the time Elige got to that point.
Unbelievable. I would never.
I think he could have stuck it.
I think the coolest thing about this play is I think we'll continue to see iterations of this as players really, really become so much more comfortable with like audio cues and the exact timing of.
I mean, that's 0.04. It's
yeah. Oh no, it's nuts. But like, I do feel like this is where the pros can like really like. This is where we're gonna see the most dramatic improvement in terms of timing. Is like really getting down to like the millisecond of.
Well, it's also why we've seen some pros struggle to transition from other games because audio is not a huge factor in other games and in many other games, right? Like Apex is a huge deal, which is why I think like Asu and Dizzy are inherently sort of nice about it. Counter-Strike obviously a massive deal, but like audio like is not a big deal in a lot of other games. Some of these other pros are playing it like it is in Call of Duty, but it isn't at the same time, right? Like because it's because of the pace is what I mean. Whereas in Counter-Strike it's everything. I think like audio is super important. Yeah, I think he had that play either way though.
Shout out to Wardell. Incredible drama there. Pulled it off.